Thanks for joining me, Thomas. This is Russ from defendmybusiness.com, powered by Disruption.io. Here talking with Thomas Culbertson from 1111 Systems to talk about what they do, how they do it, why they love working with agents like defendmybusiness.com, and really some more details about, I don't know if many of you have heard about the VMware issues, but talking about that a little bit as well. So we're happy to have Thomas here to go over everything they do. Maybe not everything. We'll reserve everything for future conversations. But yeah, we're happy to have you here, Thomas.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Russ. Always a pleasure to jump on with you. And like you said, working with Defend My Business has been incredible so far. You have helped bring us so many different customers where there's complex problems that you're able to navigate with your team, solve a ton of issues around connectivity, mobility, any sort of voice, which a lot of times rolls into the conversations that we're having. So it's really a complementary partnership that we have here. I've had a ton of fun building it out with you, and I'm very happy to be chatting a little bit more today about what's going on in the market, especially around the changes at VMware and how Defend My Business and 1111 System can help some of these customers navigate those challenges.
And that's awesome. And it has been some pretty drastic changes, I think, in your world there with that as well. And I'm not as familiar with it, so I'm actually really excited as well to learn a little bit more. I know a little bit about what you guys can do, but more in depth. I think it's going to be eye-opening for myself, but for a lot of our clients as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I do have a couple slides that I can pull up if that works. So I'm happy to share my screen here and we can jump right into it.
Excellent.
So like we talked about, the challenges with VMware specifically, and really how that ties into the cloud and how Defend My Business can help connect you to some of those solutions, and I think help some of these customers navigate these challenges, because some of them, are going to be really rather impactful for how they evaluate their operating systems moving forward, how they're managing budgets, really from an entire ecosystem perspective as well, which we'll get into. And I'm sure there's going to be pieces of the puzzle that Defend My Business can help tackle that we quite frankly can't. So there's a broader ripple effect, which we'll get into. But I just want to set the stage here for us. I know
Absolutely.
A lot of organizations, a lot of customers. I know you and I, we've been acquainted for quite some time now. But for those of you that are unfamiliar with 1111, I thought we would give you a quick background on it. Then we can dig into our cloud and look at where we can partner for opportunities, where we can help customers, solve some of these problems, especially in the infrastructure as a service space, in the cloud space, and for, most frankly, some of the disaster recovery situations that customers are facing. I know Defend My Business with a, focus around protecting organizations continuing to run on a day-to-day basis. That is a huge component of it. So I thought it would be doing us a disservice if we didn't at least touch on that piece.
For sure.
Awesome. Is there anything else you wanted to cover today other than that?
No, let's run through this and then we can just see what comes up as part of the presentation and questions after. And,
awesome.
And one thing too, for anybody that does happen to watch this, feel free to put questions, comments, reach out to the team if you want to know more. We'll be connecting with Thomas and his team at 1111 to answer questions, to get more information and generally help you out as best as we can. So,
absolutely. Yes. So to give you some background on us, we are primarily a cloud-based platform. We help organizations with cloud backup, disaster recovery, and infrastructure as a service. So that is our primary focus. That is typically, the conversations that we're having with customers. However, we do also help organizations with connectivity. So with a lot of these cloud offerings that we have, more often than not, there's connectivity requirements in and out of some of those data centers with those services. It often comes up on how are we going to best integrate with the larger network. And then, of course, security. Security is a big component for everybody. We do have a full security suite as well, but those are very much things that we focus on after the fact, after we're help solve problems around backup, disaster recovery, and infrastructure as a service. So Yeah, and the interesting thing is we are built in and around a lot of the alliance partners that you're probably familiar with as well. So Veeam, HPE, Zerto, Cohesity, VMware, which is the theme of our conversation today.
Hmm.
But outside of those logos, I think one of the things for new customers that are unfamiliar with us, a great thing to check out, which is something we're most proud of here, is the Gartner Peer Insights. So a lot of customers, when they're taking a look at a new technology, they're going to go to Gartner. And I
Hmm.
know partners alike check out Gartner just as a little bit of a background check on who this vendor is, what's their position in the market, what are some other customers like myself have experienced in engaging with them. So that's something that's ungated, open forum. You can go and check out other customers that have solved similar problems that maybe you're looking at today too.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I mean, those are some pretty big names in the industry as well. So if you haven't heard about from any of those before, feel free to reach out, and we can also give you guys insights into what they've partnered with, and how and why and all that stuff as well.
Exactly. And something I would probably be remiss to not mention is we are the largest cloud service provider for most of these organizations. So we've got longstanding, a history with HPE, with Veeam, with Cohesity, with VMware. We're also some of their largest consumers for a lot of these products.
Mhm.
So the expertise and the technology is all there. You're really getting best of breed solutions that's powered by a lot of the industry leaders here.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. And
So
and really, for Defend My Business, I mean, this again, looking at your entire business and the impact of everything from A to Z, this is a great partner for us to, or a vendor for us to have you with 1111, with just what they do and how well they do it.
absolutely. And the nice thing there is with the services we offer, it makes it a good fit for customers small and large because we really work to right size those opportunities and operationalize budgets for customers. So they're not paying huge upfront investments in pieces of the technology. It's all in that familiar, monthly recurring
Right.
cost that they're going to incur. Um, and I think a common denominator across these is a big focus on data protection, recovery, and making sure that these organizations can run as effectively as possible, which I think is, one of the MOs for Defend My Business. So
Absolutely.
I think a really good alignment there. Um, I know today we want to focus on the changes in the market, what's
Hmm.
going on with VMware, where some of these customers are facing challenges and how we can help, quite frankly. So just taking a look at the broader challenge or change
Hmm.
that's happened is VMware was acquired by an organization named Broadcom. So for those of you unfamiliar, Broadcom has made a few different acquisitions in the past. Probably most recently for a lot of customers that they'll be familiar with is Symantec, cybersecurity organization. And with acquisitions, it brings about changes in the way those services are delivered, the way they're supported, the pricing, all of those things. And for this specifically, VMware is, one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant operating systems in the market. So you likely have VMware in your environment today or know a customer that does. So what's happening is, three key themes that we've seen is there's been a mass awakening. So, and that seems like a harsh term, maybe, but there's customers who, maybe have been evaluating a new service provider. Maybe they're taking a look at technology platform. Maybe they've mapped out how their infrastructure is going to look like over the next 3 to 5 years. So with a big event like this, where there's price increases, there's changes that are disrupting how they're running on a day-to-day business, I think this accelerates a lot of those decision-making processes. So the nice thing is a lot of organizations are what we call cloud smart now. So I'm sure in the Canadian market, you've seen more and more organizations are a little bit more open to moving to the cloud for
Hmm.
SaaS-based models and delivery on services that are critical to their business. Um, um, it's a little bit slower in Canada than it has been in the US, but the adoption is definitely there. People are seeing how they can move from, a SaaS and take advantage of a SaaS-based offering, the flexibility and the benefits of the cloud, which is great for, an opportunity like this. And then the there's customers that are going to be evaluating, what the ripple effect is. So in this situation, I think about it like, for example, I use an iPhone. I don't know about you, Russ, but do you have an
I'm an Android
iPhone?
guy. I'm an Android
Android?
guy. Yeah.
Okay. And do you have other devices that integrate with your Android phone, like your headphones or watches?
Yeah. I'm. You know what? For working in tech, I'm pretty low tech. So I've got just headphones, like
Yep.
Bluetooth devices. And maybe some streaming. But that's about it. I'm not a
Yeah.
heavy personal tech user, we'll say.
I don't know if I would call myself one either, but I'm definitely a little bit a step up from there because I've got AirPods, I've got a watch, I've
Mm-hmm.
got, my MacBook. They're all integrated with my iPhone. So you can think about this situation before we actually jump into the details of it. If Apple came out tomorrow and was like, hey, listen, we know Apple is a premium device, so we're going to increase the carrier charges by 2 to 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm faced with uh, a decision where I can either pay the increase and continue to operate as usual, continue to use my phone with my AirPods
Yeah.
and my watch and everything, or I can take a look at maybe moving to Android, where are all the apps that I use on my iPhone going to work on my Android? For sure. And in a lot of ways, it's going to be very easy to move over. There's going to be a bit of a shift in terms of I'm going to have to go and download everything and set it up my phone how I want it. And it's going to take a little bit of time for sure, but I'm going to save myself some money. The ripple effect there is now I'm going to have to take a look at what my broader environment looks like, where now my AirPods aren't going to work, my watch isn't
Right.
going to work. It's not going to be able to pull messages up on my MacBook. So it makes me take a look at what it means for my broader environment. And that's exactly what customers are looking at today too,
Mm-hmm.
where if they do want to make a change, what does it mean for their broader environment? And is it worth the cost of paying that price increase? So, what exactly were the changes that happened? Is really four big things. They changed the licensing model. So VMware is no longer selling or supporting perpetual licenses to customers.
Okay.
So that is bringing a pretty significant pricing change for all of the customers that are using VMware today.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at it, and we're seeing stories of 2, 3, 400% increases in renewal rates, which can be a challenge for some customers, right? Some organizations, they're going to eat that cost and going to move on with how they operate and not look at it as a huge challenge. But others, that is detrimental to how they run their business. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. And another change that's happening is, as companies go through acquisitions, um, they look to streamline how those customers are supported. So they want to maximize the profits of this new acquisition, and they want to streamline how those customers are supported. In this model, they are triaging that through a number of different partners. So customers are concerned around what's our experience going to be like moving forward here? Are we going to be able to receive the same support we have for the past, 15 years or
Yeah.
however long it may be? And then another concern is, what is the innovation going to look like moving forward? Are we going to continue to improve? And are we going to continue to innovate as the industry moves forward? Where sometimes that does lag behind with an acquisition. Doesn't always, but definitely a concern that customers are having. So, there's a few different themes there. I would say, in my opinion, the two biggest pieces here is the price increase, because
Mm-hmm.
that's presents a big hill to
Well, it's a
climb for a
huge
lot of
increase, four
customers.
times your cost. I mean, not everybody
Yes,
can bear just, hey, here's four times what you were paying before, just because.
exactly. And then another thing is customer support, where it's like, if we run into any issues, who's going to be there to pick up the phone? Because these are their production workloads. So it's not like, it's something that is a nice to
Mm-hmm.
have on the side. It is, the backbone of their business. So it leaves customers with a few different options to evaluate. So like we talked about,
Mm-hmm.
you can just stick with it and you can pay the increase, which for some organizations, that's going to be the move. Um, where maybe they have IT staff that are working on different initiatives that they can't afford to pull back to take a look at a migration or take a look at a platform switch. So they'll pay the upfront cost, they'll do the renewal, and maybe they'll kick the can down the road a little bit. But they're going to continue to have to manage all of that. And they're going to continue to have to go through the support, and they're going to continue to have to pay any further increases that may or may not happen. Or they can take a look at a platform change. So there's options for sure. So you can move to Nutanix with Hyper-V. You can take a look at 1111 systems, or you can take a look at Azure AWS. So we're by no means the silver bullet for this challenge. There's options for customers. I think a big thing that customers are going to be evaluating is their different technologies. With Nutanix and Hyper-V, it's not VMware. So they're going to have to figure out how to migrate those workloads. And oftentimes that's going to come with costs. So they're going to have a overall greater cost of ownership. And I'm not sure if you see this with your customers, but what we've seen a lot is organizations moving to the public cloud. Initially, it's great. We're going to save all this money, but oftentimes those bills balloon up over the months where there's unpredictable costs. That is something, the conversation your team faces.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's, and you may touch on it later on this as well, but even just burnout. We're seeing that where IT, they're overworked. They have a million projects. There's more and more getting thrown at them, and doing a wholesale change, whether you understand it or not, is just a drain on resources. So that alone, additional burnout. Now it's lost productivity, time off, all that fun stuff. So you have unpredictable costs or higher costs from the actual solution, but then you have that human element with internal teams, and that's a cost.
Absolutely.
So, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. So with those, comes these IT staff are going to have to go all hands on deck to make this move, where there's going to be migrations. You're going to have to shift workloads from VMware to a new platform, whether it's Hyper-V or whether it's Azure AWS. You're going to have migration issues, where the nice thing with 1111 is we're VMware based. We're a VMware based cloud. It would be VMware to VMware. And a lot of times it's looking at, from an 1111 perspective, is how we've seen in the market is you're going to get the same look and feel as VMware, the same experience at a more predictable cost with a simple migration. And the benefit of it is it's a comprehensive platform. So everything is managed, it's built in, you have a single pane of glass to look at it. And some people even refer to our console as like an easier version of vCenter.
Oh, there you go.
VMware looks after.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I think, one big piece to touch on here too is the day one experience versus the day two experience. So even if you get that migration done, and, I believe that Nutanix, Azure, AWS, all of them are going to have great teams that are going to help you make those migrations. They're going to help you navigate any of the challenges that come up. They're going to help tackle problems. But what does day two look like? When you're out in the wild on your own, now you're running this new platform. And sometimes, those IT staff that you just mentioned, they don't have the skills or the expertise to navigate a new platform on top of all the other stuff that they're doing. So there's a huge, skill set and expertise component that comes into it. And there's a very, a people problem where it's these IT staff, they've been running VMware for however many years. They know it, they're comfortable with it. They are experts in their own rights. So shifting to a new platform comes about a whole new learning curve as well, which I don't think is anything to overlook.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then the big piece here is, with some of these points, I touched on our platform a little bit around cost optimization, around the simple migration. I just wanted to give you a snapshot of what it actually looks like and what that means, because it was a little bit ambiguous. With our platform, the really nice thing about it, and why I love bringing the solution to customers, is there's so many pieces that are included at no cost. So you get the firewalls, you get unlimited bandwidth, you have unlimited VMs. There's really no limit to how much you can push into our cloud. And you get 24/7 support. So follow the sun model. Someone will always be there to pick up the phone, help you out. And that's backed by 100% availability SLA, a money back guarantee too.
Right.
So we have, there's legitimately financial benefit that we push out to customers if there ever were a disruption in the availability that we can deliver. So that's something that we pride ourselves in on, making sure that we can support the customers, do right by them, and especially by the partners too, because you're bringing customers to us that you've spent a lot of time building trust up with, and we want to make sure that we deliver that same experience. And then, all the good stuff with encryption and security and making sure you're compliant.
And that's, big with us with Defend My Businesses, making sure our customers are aware that, if you have insurance or don't have insurance, that there is going to be compliance. There are going to be things that you need to make sure you have in place in the event that something happens, that you are covered with your insurance. And, it's great that you brought those up, because that's, core to, what we're building with Defend My Businesses, that comprehensive solution. So whether it's a mix of 1111, what you guys offer, and maybe some endpoints, mobility, connectivity on-prem,
Yes,
backups for
absolutely.
data. So you got your satellite backup, your primary connection, whatever the case may be. We want to be working with guys like you to help, or companies like 1111 to help our customers that are facing these problems and the ever-changing landscape with cybercrime and cyber theft and all of the those bad things that happen out there. It's never ending. They're constantly evolving. So
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy you said that, because the next couple pieces I did want to touch on exactly that. Backup and disaster recovery, that is built into our platform. So before I get to that piece, I just want to give you a snapshot of the actual console itself, what customers would be experiencing. I know we talked about it, like some customers look at it like an easier version of vCenter. So they have everything. It's on a snapshot. They can take a look at their environment itself, everything they're running, all their networks, the security and compliance pieces. So you can take a look into your vulnerabilities, how your firewalls are operating, all the intrusion protection, log inspection on data that's coming in and out, all of those things. And then the other piece that we primarily focus on is integrated data protection and disaster recovery. So you can copy the backups directly out of this infrastructure as a service offering. So you can get backups right out of here, push them to another cloud. You can have your completely integrated disaster recovery. I know that's a piece I touched on at the start, and I really wanted to make sure that we cover today.
absolutely.
But before we wrap up on the VMware side of things, unless you have any other questions, I would love to take through a couple talking points. Maybe these are themes that customers are going through today. Maybe these are things, your team can start to ask questions around, and, same thing as customers. Maybe they're asking themselves these same questions.
Yeah, let's dive into them. I mean, let's keep the flow going.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's do it, because we want to do a series with you guys, so we can touch on
absolutely.
other aspects of what you do in more detail. So
Yeah,
let's go over this. Let's go over these talking points right now.
perfect. So I think these themes across the board for customers and partners alike that are going to be looking at it is, we talked about this before, budget impact. How impactful is this going to be on our organization, on a customer that you're working with? What's going to happen? How impactful is the change going to be? Are you looking at alternatives? Maybe it's a good opportunity to take a look at what a migration would be, how that would map out, what the alternatives are for you. They do have options, and I think like being able to bring those conversations to customers and making sure that they're aware of those is crucial, because we are here to help. You can help navigate certain challenges, and I think add a lot of value in those conversations, which is exactly, on the partner community, exactly what we're here to do. I won't dig into every single one of these, but something to think about, whether you're a customer, whether you are, a partner like ourselves that are taking a look at some of these things. They're all things to consider for sure.
Absolutely. And again, just to reiterate, our team here with Defend My Business, obviously, if you're watching this and you have a lot more questions, we're here to help out with those. Take them back to Thomas's team at 1111 and get them answered. We're going to put up some information as well. And we're going to do a series. So we're going to try to do more of these types of videos, but more, focusing in on different aspects. So If you've
Mhm.
kind of looked into 1111 in the past and you want to know more or want us to talk or address something that they do, or maybe you think they should do, whatever the case may be, put those in comments, talk to our team about it. We'd be happy to arrange conversations with Thomas and the team, or just future videos where we touch on information specifically about what you're looking at, like disaster recovery. How does it work? You know, if you're not sure, we can go into depth on that, and we can bring some engineers on. So it's a pleasure having you here, Thomas, and talking about specifically 1111 and VM and or VMware, I should say. And you know, our team is here to get you guys connected with Thomas and his team, and look at your whole business holistically. So we want to take every aspect, take it in steps. You know, if this is just one component, you were hit with a very, very large bill from VMware saying, hey, you can renew, but here's that cost, and you had other projects. Well, let us connect with Thomas and, you know, look at that cost, look at your budget and your plans for other projects, and see how we can step in, help you out, keep your costs down, and find other solutions for those other projects once we've solved this problem today. So I really appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. No, I'm happy to be here, and thanks for the opportunity to talk with you. It's always a pleasure. I think a great theme for the next time we talk, maybe we dive into the disaster recovery as a service offering. I think that would be a great segue, especially for customers that are maybe starting to evaluate threats around ransomware and things like that.
Absolutely. That's a great topic. So we'll, you know, stay tuned for that. Those of you watching, it'll be coming out. Again, our links will be in the description. You know, we'll post them somewhere on the video, a link to 1111, but feel free. Our team is there to connect with you. So there's chat that you can call in, you know, the contact us forms. Happy to connect with you. And then we can, you know, get some questions answered, get a little more information about you, and then engage Thomas and his team.
Fantastic.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you again here soon, Thomas. Thanks a lot.
No problem. Take care.